Thank you, Cantor. Tonight, I am going to offer the first part of a two-part sermon. Some of you may have read it in our newsletter this week and next week. I stand here tonight with a full heart, partially filled with deep concern for ourselves and our country, but also filled with a strong sense of tikva, of unshakable hope. As Jews, we have always been attuned to the vibrations of history, both its triumphs and its warnings. And today, those vibrations are growing louder and louder. We're living in times that feel increasingly uncertain, increasingly unsafe. We find ourselves in an America where the visibility of anti-Semitism is rising brazenly and unapologetically. I looked back at sermons I have given over the years this week. I spoke directly about anti-Semitism only on 5 occasions. The first was in 2014, when a man from southern Missouri came to Kansas City for the purpose of killing Jews. 3 were murdered at the JCC and at the local Jewish senior living facility. And he was on his way to my synagogue to continue with his killing spree when he was stopped. Next was 2017, when white supremacists marched in Charlottesville, chanting, "Jews will not replace us." A third time was in 2018, with the attack of the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, where 11 people were murdered. The fourth was in 2022, when a gunman came to Congregation Beth Israel in Colleyville, Texas, and held the rabbi and congregants hostage. And most recently, in 2023, in the aftermath of the October 7th attack by Hamas against Israel. What do you notice from this recitation? I've been a rabbi since 1981, 45 years as of next month. Only in the last 10 years has the specter of anti-Semitism risen to the level that required, in my opinion, a message from the Bima. From Charlottesville to Pittsburgh, to Poway, to Jersey City, to Seattle, to Kansas City, to Colleyville, to college campuses and cities across the country and beyond. The alarm has been sounded. We can almost feel viscerally the vibrations of menacing hate increasing. But it is not just violence. It is not just hateful rhetoric. It is normalization. It is conspiracy theories, Holocaust distortion, and casual tropes spoken in public discourse, sometimes even from the mouths of those seeking or holding power. To be fair, we know anti-Semitism existed long before this last decade of incredible social and political upheaval. There have been periods of relative calm where the hoary monsters of Jew-baiting and Jew-hating have remained below the surface, but they were still there. They were there in full expression during the Crusades and during the Inquisition, and of course, during the Holocaust. They were there but quieter during the period of 19th century Enlightenment in Europe and in the United States. And it was quietly there in the second half of the 20th century, even as American Jewish public expression reached a zenith. In those years in particular, many of us dismissed anti-Semitism as ignorance, as accidental, as cultural. We named it anything but for what it was. A true story. The year was 1969. I was 15 years old and my father had just died. After the obligate week of Shiva, I returned to school. I was a sophomore. That day happened to be my PE class, and we were swimming in relay races. I pinned my Shiva ribbon onto my swim trunks and was chosen to swim last in the relay. Neither my head nor my heart were in the race. When my turn came, I dove in and very quickly just stopped in the middle of the race. I was crying. I couldn't go on. I got out of the pool. I couldn't do it. As I got out of the pool, two guys from the football team were waiting for me as I climbed out. They towered over me by a good 12 inches. They began harassing me for quitting in the middle of the race. They saw the Shiva ribbon and asked me what it was. Through a mixture of tears and pool water dripping down my face, I explained what it was. One of the kids said, and I quote, "That's why you lost, Jew boy. It's bad juju. Get it? Juju. You Jew. You Jews are such wussies." For many years, I've thought of that incident as bullying, of kids being intentionally cruel to someone vulnerable. It wasn't until 15 years ago that I realized that being attacked for being Jewish was anti-Semitism. And sadly, I'm sure that many of you here, if not most, have other stories to tell of low-level or even blatant anti-Semitism that has happened to you. But today is palpably different. And we must be honest. In the last decade, the decade that has seen all of my anti-Semitism sermons, in the era shaped by Donald Trump's rhetoric and movement, we have seen a troubling amplification of anti-Semitic narratives. When nationalist ideologies find oxygen in the public square, when great replacement theories are retweeted, when dog whistles become megaphones, when alliances are forged with extremists for political gain, we must recognize that something sacred in the civic compact of this country is at risk. But friends, let me be equally clear, and do listen to what I'm about to say. This is not about President Trump. Anti-Semitism is not bound to the left or the right. It mutates, adapts, and survives when it is not confronted, regardless of the political side one is on. It flourishes when truth is twisted and responsibility is evaded. In the aftermath of October 7th and the subsequent war in Gaza, the progressive left in this country and elsewhere mobilized college students to protest what was happening. Sadly, what might have been a righteous outcry to help innocents in the midst of war became a cover for rabid and virulent anti-Semitic attacks against Jews. While oftentimes Israel was attacked, the words used, the images portrayed, were those that anti-Semites had employed for decades and indeed for generations. Who are the Israelis in their minds, if not Jews? No, this is not to be blamed solely on President Trump and his allies, nor solely on Representative Ilhan Omar and her allies. we must hold everyone accountable, including those with whom we otherwise agree or disagree. Silence is not an option for us. Last week, as part of Parashat Kedoshim, we read, Lo ta'amod al dam re'echa. Do not stand idly by the blood of your neighbor. But what if the blood being threatened is our own? What if we are both the neighbor and the endangered? Here is our answer. We do not stand idly by. We speak, we educate, we organize, and we defend. How do we do this? By choosing to step into the fray. It means finding your place in the public square. Perhaps it's using an app like 5calls.org or causes.com or resist.bot. Each provides an easy way to contact your federal legislators and the White House over issues that are of concern to you. Perhaps it means going to city council meetings or school board meetings. Perhaps it means contacting the Hillel at your alma mater and asking what they need, how you can support them. Perhaps it means choosing where to direct your charitable giving and to see how the organizations to whom you might contribute have addressed anti-Semitism in their spheres of influence. But it's also being hyper-aware to the latent anti-Semitism, to the little cuts and jabs that we experience or even that we see. One of our greatest sins in our tradition is not to act. So as the saying goes, see something, say something. We don't need to be mean. We don't need to be strident. We need to educate, and we need to make it stop against us, against others, against Israel. Now, quick PS about Israel. There is much that Israel does that I abhor, and I do criticize it. But there's a difference between criticism and anti-Semitism. Do not be fooled. So in addition to educating others, please educate yourselves. Find unbiased reporting about Israel and about the Palestinians and about Gaza. All this sounds very dark and challenging. And while it objectively is, we do not surrender to fear. Judaism has never been a tradition of despair. Israel's national anthem says it all, Ha-Tikva. We are children of hope. We are the descendants of survivors who rebuilt out of ashes. We are the dreamers who still pray every single day, Aleinu, for the world to be redeemed, for a world to be built on kindness, on justice, and on shared humility. Let us therefore not respond only with security cameras and armed guards, though we need those too, but with louder voices, stronger coalitions, deeper love for one another. We must also build bridges with other marginalized communities who face hate, just as we demand solidarity when anti-Semitism rears its ugly head. But in the face of this threat, though, there is one more thing that we should put on our daily to-do lists. Let us reclaim pride in our identity, not in hiding, but in celebrating. Let our mezuzot be visible on our doorposts. Let our stars of David around our neck sit outside. Our menorah shining through the windows for the world to see. Even encouraging Hebrew to echo in public places. Let our children know our grandchildren to know that being Jewish is not something that requires us to be protected and defended, just, but also something to live for, to love for. Beth Am, this house of the people, is not just a sanctuary of prayer and learning and gathering, but it should be a sanctuary of courage. In our Torah, in our values, in our resilience, we carry the tools not only to survive this moment, but to shape what comes after. For 70 years, this congregation has felt in its bones what our ancestors have always known. Am Yisrael Chai. The people of Israel live. Not in fear, but in purpose. Not in silence, but in truth. May we learn, may we advocate, may we fight, may we educate, may we rejoice, and above all, may we, regardless of where we sit on the political spectrum, be one. Shabbat Shalom. Please join us in